There's a strange kind of loneliness that exists today. Not the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of being seen by everyone and known by no one. We live in a world where silence has become suspicious, where if you're not sharing, you're not there, where your life only counts if it's counted in likes. But there are people, millions of them, who scroll without speaking, who watch without performing, who exist in the margins of the digital world, present but invisible. They don't post. They don't share. They don't broadcast their breakfasts or their breakthroughs. And the question that haunts the rest of us is, why? Are they hiding? Are they judging? Are they somehow free? The algorithms don't understand them. The platforms aren't built for them. In a digital ecosystem designed to extract and amplify, they are the anomaly, the silent witnesses to everyone else's performance. And in their silence, they pose an uncomfortable question to the rest of us. What if you didn't have to prove you existed? The truth is, we've built a culture that equates visibility with value. If you're not posting, you're not participating. If you're not updating, you're not living. We've confused documentation with experience, performance with presence. And so, the people who don't post become ghosts in the machine, logged in but invisible, following but never followed back. But here's what we miss. Silence isn't always absence. Sometimes, it's the most honest form of presence, because when you're not performing your life, you're actually living it. The psychology behind not posting is far more complex than we assume. It's not laziness. It's not unsocial behavior. It's not even always about privacy. It's often about protection. Protection from judgment, from comparison, from the exhausting performance of seeming okay when you're not, or seeming humble when you're proud, or seeming spontaneous when everything is staged. Some people don't post because they've realized something the rest of us are still learning, that every post is a petition, every photo a plea. See me, validate me, tell me I matter. And they've decided they'd rather not ask. There's a concept in psychology called the spotlight effect, the belief that people are paying more attention to us than they actually are. Social media amplifies this illusion to an almost pathological degree. We think everyone is watching, everyone is judging, everyone cares. So we curate, we filter, we edit our lives into highlight reels, carefully trimming away the mundane, the messy, the real. But the people who don't post, they've seen through the spotlight. They know the truth. Most people aren't watching. Most people are too busy performing their own lives to study yours. And in that realization, there's a kind of freedom, a freedom from the constant self-monitoring. From the mental calculations of will this get engagement? Or what will people think? From the subtle anxiety of checking how a post is performing, like a farmer watching the sky for rain. They've stepped out of the theatre, not because they don't care about the play, but because they've stopped believing they need to be in it. There's also the weight of authenticity in an age of performance. We're told to be authentic online, but what does that even mean when the platform itself is a stage? When vulnerability becomes a strategy? When even our confessions are calculated for maximum relatability? Some people don't post because they can't reconcile this paradox. They can't figure out how to be real in a space that rewards performance, how to be vulnerable without it feeling like manipulation, how to share without it feeling like selling. So, they retreat into observation. They become students of human behavior, watching the theatre from the wings, fascinated and horrified in equal measure. They see the patterns, the trends, the way everyone seems to post the same sunset with the same caption, the way grief becomes content, the way joy becomes currency. And they think, I don't know how to play this game, and I'm not sure I want to learn. Then, there are those who've simply opted out of the economy of attention. They've decided their inner life is more valuable than their image, that their memories don't need witnesses, that a sunset doesn't require a caption to be beautiful. They're not rejecting connection, they're redefining it. They call their friends instead of commenting. They show up in person instead of in pixels. They love without likes. And in a world obsessed with reach, they've chosen depth. These are the people who still write in journals no one will read, who take photos and never share them, who have experiences purely for the sake of having them, not for the story they'll tell later. They've remembered something we've collectively forgotten, that before social media we used to do things just because we wanted to. We didn't need external validation to confirm our experiences were real. We didn't need witnesses to our lives because we were the witness, and that was enough. There's a Buddhist concept called the hungry ghost, a being with an enormous belly and a tiny mouth, forever hungry but never satisfied. Social media has turned us all into hungry ghosts, always consuming, never full, always seeking validation, never validated, always sharing, never satisfied with the response. The people who don't post have recognized this hunger, and they've chosen to starve it rather than feed it. Not because they don't crave connection or recognition, but because they've realized that kind of craving can never be satisfied by likes and comments. It's a bottomless pit disguised as a notification. Emotional depth and turning point. Here's the thing we don't talk about enough. There's a grief that comes with not posting. A strange kind of erasure. Your life becomes unrecorded. Your growth, unwitnessed. Your joy, unshared. Years pass, and there's no digital breadcrumb trail, no proof you were there, no archive of the person you were becoming. You watch your friends' lives unfold in carefully curated timelines, their children growing up in squares and stories, their travels mapped in geotags, their transformations documented and celebrated. And your life, it happens in the gaps between their posts, in the unmarked spaces, in the places algorithms will never reach. Sometimes, late at night, you wonder, did it even happen if no one saw it? You think about the moments no one knows about, the quiet victories, the private struggles, the days that changed you that you'll never be able to prove existed. There's a loneliness to that, a weight. In a culture that says pics or it didn't happen, your life becomes folklore, unverified, unwitnessed. But then, quietly, almost unexpectedly, comes another thought. Yes, it did. Because you were there. You felt it. You lived it fully, without the lens, without the performance, without the split-second calculation of how it would look to strangers. You weren't watching yourself live. You were just living. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Because here's what social media has stolen from us without us even noticing. Presence. The ability to be fully in a moment without simultaneously existing outside of it. To experience something without narrating it. To feel something without immediately translating it into content. They've discovered that some moments are too sacred to share. That some joys are diminished by documentation. That some experiences are meant to be felt, not filmed. Resolution and reflection. So maybe the question isn't why people don't post. Maybe it's why the rest of us do. Are we sharing to connect or to convince? To remember or to be remembered? To celebrate or to be celebrated? Are we living our lives or creating content? Are we present in our experiences or already thinking about how to frame them? There's no wrong answer, but there is a cost to constant performance, to living your life as content, to needing the world to witness your worth, to never being able to simply be without simultaneously being seen. The people who don't post have simply decided the cost is too high. They've chosen to be the tree that falls in the forest, the one that makes a sound even when no one's around to hear it. And in their silence, there's a message. You don't need to prove you're alive. You just need to live. Maybe they're not the ones missing out. Maybe they're the ones who figured out what The rest of us are still chasing that real life doesn't happen on a screen. That real connection doesn't come with a like button. That real joy doesn't need an audience. They've remembered that before we had followers, we had friends. Before we had feeds, we had conversations. Before we had content, we had moments. And those moments, the unposted, unfiltered, unwitnessed ones, those might be the realest things we have. So here's to the quiet ones, the lurkers, the observers, the people who exist in the margins of our feeds, the ones who still know how to be bored without documenting it, who can enjoy a meal without photographing it, who can feel proud without announcing it, the ones who've chosen mystery over exposure, privacy over performance, being over seeming. They're just living differently, quietly, fully, unapologetically, without needing anyone to press like to make it real. And maybe that's the most radical thing you can do in a world that demands constant proof of existence, to simply exist, to let your life be small and private and yours, to find meaning in the moments no one else will ever see, to be someone even when no one's watching, because in the end, the only person who needs to witness your life is you. And that witness, that quiet, steady presence in your own experience, that might be the only validation you ever really needed. In the silence, there is truth. In the unshared moment, there is freedom. And in the life unlived online, there is a life fully lived.